Give it 30 seconds or so, guys. We're literally...
Child.
Go. We're on. Can't see ourselves. Yes, we can. I can see the boys.
Are we here? Are you here, Wayne?
We're right. I can see myself now. Can you see yourselves, fellas? Check. Third check.
Does it? I think I'm here.
I think we're here. We are here. Guys, welcome back to the Man's Collective podcast, the place where real men, real talk without the BS. Wayne Taylor here, and today is International Men's Health Day, and we are coming to you live across our social media platforms. We're here to take your questions and interactions live. So look, feel free to type in a question, ring in with a question. We'll do our absolute best to get on to all of them. But before we get right into it, I want to introduce to you our panel. We have a couple of the regs, Mike and Steve-O. Welcome, fellas.
Hey. Good to see you.
Always
Pulling the night shift.
We're pulling a night shift, didn't it? I was yawning before we kicked off.
How good's a night game, though? You always feel more pumped for it.
Yeah, I'm a bit excited about the night one. It's better than the early morning ones. But it's good. But look, welcome, fellas. And look, we do have a familiar face and a voice that you may remember from not too long ago, but 7 years ago in 2018, when we, as Average Joes, the movement did kick off. It was just due to having a beer and wings on every Wednesday with a good mate of mine, and that good mate happens to be here tonight. Elliot.
How you going?
Good to have you back, mate.
It is good to be back.
Geez, you're grey, huh?
Yeah? You're wider.
White or wider?
Yeah, I think it's
wider.
I'll take it. I'll take it. It's the truth either way.
Yep.
Just nod and smile. Good to have you back, bud.
Oh, it's great to be back. The studio's changed a little bit since the spare room at Perugian Beach, mate. It's
That's
a bit
when
more
we kicked
techie
off.
now.
COVID was actually what kicked this whole thing off,
Yeah,
really, wasn't it?
that's it. It really was the driving force, yeah, because we had to deliver the message somehow. So, yeah, it was. I just built a house in Perugian, and we just picked one of the spare rooms with all the junk in there, surplus sunglasses and things like that.
That's right.
And we made room, and me, you, and Mick, went into it.
Yeah, it was look, humble beginnings.
Yes.
And still humble beginnings. I mean, look,
I don't think so, mate. Look at this. What are we, Glenfiddich here?
it is a pretty cool setup, isn't it? Well, welcome, mate. It's really good to have you. It's
great to
and
be
look,
here.
mentioning that, mate, it's and look, we'll tie in a little bit today, but not too much because we have mentioned it before. But it was yourself, myself, and Mick, and we've sadly this year lost Mick to mental health challenges, which is quite sad. And it's it's rampant. Statistics are growing, and we're headed to make them shrink, hopefully. But look, today is the day for men, and we are going to use it to shine a spotlight on the parts of a man that makes him mentally strong: his physical health, his spiritual health, and his mental health. The full makeup of man that decides whether he just survives or whether he actually lives. And to honour that, we're doing something special. Not only are we recording this episode live, not only are we opening the lines to you for your questions, your stories, your battles, your wins, but we do have some incredible guests phoning in and joining us. Have NRL powerhouse Dayne Weston will be calling in and taking on this the big battle about mental health and the real problems that we are facing within the mental health movement itself. We have good friend, child guitar prodigy, and great friend of myself and the show, Nathan Cavaleri, as we're back. He'll be joining us to talk about staying mentally healthy while living in the spotlight of fame. We have great friend and big supporter of the show, very good friend of myself, author John Comerford, taking us through his top 3 points out of his newly released book, Battle Armor, which is a toolkit for men dealing with mental health. And when it comes to the building of a whole man, the physical, mental, spiritual, we have some more voices stepping in. My good mate, Pastor Troy Davis, will be calling in, talking about what it means for a man to be spiritually fit. We also have Brett D. Scott will join us to talk about what it takes to be physically strong and healthy as a man and the mindset needed to do so. And then you have us, the Average Joes. Sorry to disappoint. Look, we're going to break all of this down in a way that men can understand and actually use. So before we get started with our guest, let's talk mental health. Let's stop and look at where we stand currently as a nation. We're here on International Men's Health Day because as men, we carry more than most think. Physical strength and endurance, yes, but also spiritual roots, mental clarity, and psychological resilience. Let me share some hard truths because if we don't face them, we won't lead ourselves or our families well. The hard truth is this. In Australia, nearly 50% of men will experience anxiety or depression at some stage in their life. 50%. In the past 12 months, the diagnosis of mental disorder amongst males is 1 in 5. Suicide remains the leading cause of death for men under 45. Absolutely staggering. 6 out of 7 of all suicide deaths are men. 1/4 of men say that they're not likely to seek help if they're struggling. 1/4 only. Absolutely unbelievable. So look, what does this mean? We're strong. We're expected to be. We're expected to carry burdens, but carrying burdens without checking in on the internal structure, the mind, the soul, the spirit becomes something that breaks us. When men delay help, when they ignore loneliness, when we push aside the hard questions along with actions, then we're sitting ducks. We risk more than fatigue or stress. We risk collapse. We risk losing ourselves. So what do? Well, we're not going to get through all of the answers on tonight's episode, obviously, but we're going to have a crack at getting a fair chunk of it out in the open. So sit back, get ready. Fellas, are you ready?
Let's go.
Let's do it.
It's going to be a big night, I tell you. Those stats, absolutely staggering, hey?
Yeah. And they're getting worse. I heard them from I think 2016, and we're spiraling down, which is really hard to hear. Of all the awareness that we've had and we've raised, the stats are going worse. So awareness isn't enough.
Yeah, it's surprising. Look, we say that so often, and you can honestly say, I mean, since Elliot and I started 7 years ago with Average Joes as a movement, we didn't start as a mental health thing. We were just mates being mates and just that whole accountability thing. What we were thrown into, and we said it time before, so I don't want to be repetitive, but obviously what we got thrown into was the whole mental health movement on behalf of us. We didn't really choose that, but let's just say if we look back at the 7 years we've been involved, awareness itself has gone through the roof. Awareness is so everyone's talking about it now. Everyone's aware. Their awareness has skyrocketed. But so have the stats.
Yeah, so have the stats.
Nothing's changed. In fact, what you're saying, it's actually spiraling out of control more. So it's proving a point that awareness is doing jack all.
Yeah.
It's doing jack all. And I've said this, we love using stories and analogies and metaphors here on the show. But if you're walking past somebody's house and their house is on fire, it's one thing to go up and knock on the door and go, hey, mate, just let you know your house is on fire. All right, buddy, all the best. That's great. But awareness, where it's a matter of, mate, listen, your house is on fire. Now, you get the kids, I'll get the hose, someone call 000, let's get it moving.
Yeah.
Let me grab some stuff.
Action, yeah.
But
the action part of it's missing, isn't it? Like awareness has been done to death.
But we think awareness is enough, though. That's the problem. Yeah. We're happy with awareness. Governments are throwing millions and millions of dollars, and this is just here in Australia. We're opening up different sections in hospitals all around mental health. We're seeing groups. I'm not even going to say similar to ours because I know that we are a standalone different. But there's so many groups popping up. You've got government grants that everyone's throwing money at the awareness side of things and then patting themselves in the back going, we're doing a great job, guys.
It's like the house burns down, the family's on the street, and we go, hey, great news story. This guy made a family aware. And we're going to celebrate that. Well done, champion. What a hero.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, it's interesting to say. But look, I'm not saying that we're going to cover everything tonight, nor we're going to solve all the problems, but we do want to bring everything to the surface as best we can. Yeah. We do have some guests. We do have some guests waiting in the background as we speak, and I'm going to introduce you guys to our first one who's going to be joining us. So look, joining us first on the show tonight is one of Australia's favourite sons. He graced our stages on Hey Hey It's Saturday many years ago. He's travelled the world selling out gigs, but after his recent performance at the Precinct, I can honestly say one of, if not the best live performances I've seen. He's a guy I've formed a friendship with over these past few weeks. Welcome to the show once again, Mr. Nathan Cavaleri. Are you there, buddy?
Hey, I'm there. Can you hear me okay?
We've got you, mate. We've got you. Maybe a little bit more volume there. Maybe Samuel in the sound room. You want to bump up the volume if you can?
Yo, 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 yo.
Yeah, we got you, mate. We got you. Welcome to the show, bud.
Thank you for having me back. Hope you're having fun.
Yeah, it's it's been great so far.
Yeah, awesome. Happy International Men's Day.
Yeah, happy International Men's Day, mate. It's it's one of those days we'll just kind of give it a bit of a stick just before, telling everybody how much we we appreciate the day. It's great that we get a day.
Yeah.
It's
nice to get a month, wouldn't it?
well, if you're a bit queer, loving a fella, you get a month. But no, apparently if you're straight, you get a day.
Well, there you go.
I think we need to do a bit better on social media, because I looked it up, and International Men's Day is sitting at about 300,000 posts on Instagram. But International Women's Day, now, just to be clear, I back International Women's Day massively, but they're at 12.2 million posts versus 300,000.
Wow.
Come on, dudes.
Mate, what about International Donut Day? I know that's
Hey,
a big one on my.
Is that the same day? Or is that, I did 3 posts a day, just on a.
We know.
No. Well, mate, look, we really appreciate having you on the show once again, mate. Really good. Thanks, Otis. Mate,
you.
I have a couple of things I want to run by, because I know that you are a bit of an advocate in this space yourself, and we did touch on it on our last podcast. So I want to ask a few other things, mate, because I'm sure our audience probably have a few things come through too, which we'll put to you. But, mate, listen, playing on stage to such a huge crowd would have to be one of the biggest dopamine, top of the world thrilling experiences someone can have. When the lights go down, the music stops, how do you then go from such a height to then living in the norm? What do you do to stay mentally strong during the come down?
Yeah, well, my come down generally happens. It doesn't happen after the gig, like straight away. It doesn't happen in the morning. I actually feel quite blissed out. I feel like I've achieved something, especially if the gig's done well. And I'm really in a state of appreciation. The tricky part is probably about a day or two afterwards, especially after coming back from a tour. And that's a biochemical thing. You know, I learned a long time ago that you have to respect the natural ebbs and flows of your biochemistry based on whatever it is you're doing. And if you are soaring high and your adrenaline is pumping and you're feeling all of that good stuff, you know, there is going to be an adjustment. And sometimes, you know, I think the more you get to know yourself as well, like what are your tendencies when you're coming down? You know, are your tendencies to overthink? Are your tendencies to get anxious or depressed or gloomy or whatever it is? And when you're self-aware and you know what it is you do during that come down that's not helpful, then you can be your own best support. So for me, I just need to be gentle on myself. I need to respect that I might not have the pace and the and even necessarily the strength that I would normally have at baseline. So therefore, just give myself compassion. Yeah, that's cool. You spent that energy. You'll bounce back. And if the gloominess and the monkey mind starts up, well, all I have to do is be self-aware of that as well, and just go, you know what? I'm not talking to you. You're corrupt right now. I love using that. It's like, you know, when your mind is corrupt, right? You know, it's like that feeling at 2:00 in the morning as well, when you wake up and all of a sudden your life's worth of problems have just been dumped on you, and it's like, you know, your mind is corrupt. You're not thinking logically, so it's best not to have that conversation. As far as I'm concerned, you're a bouncer out front of a nightclub, and I'm listening to somebody who's getting in my face that's pissed as a fart, and the best thing to do is just gently just say, keep moving, buddy, it's all good.
I love that, mate. I love that. And you mentioned the word self-awareness. Now, that's such a big part of it. I know when you're going through some of this stuff, some of our perspective can be a little filtered and biased on where we're at, and in the moment it's sometimes hard to get that perspective right. Looking back at your journey now with a bit of self-awareness, what would be the difference at the height of what you were going through? What kind of perspective did you have then compared to, in hindsight, knowing what you know now? What's the difference?
The biggest thing was a lack of self-awareness, even though it's a weird thing. You think, like, I heard that term back then. It's like, yeah, no, I'm aware of what I'm doing. Well, not really. Like maybe like on surface level, but not deep down in the subconscious. And maybe I could, after a moment of reaction, I could probably sit and reflect. But, you know, the key is to try and be so self-aware that you're almost editing yourself along the way, you know, like not after the moment has passed. And so self-awareness was huge back then. It was a huge lesson for me. You know, when I reflect on those darker days as well, it's, you know, I think more than anything, I kind of felt sorry for, felt sorry for that version of me that didn't get the education that I now have now. And I don't believe in regrets. Obviously, I had to walk that path to learn those lessons, but none of these lessons were particularly out of the box. They were all just like, oh, well, duh, that makes sense. Why wasn't I taught that early on in life?
Yeah.
And so it's but one thing I will say though, as much as what I was so challenged back then, I am really proud of myself and the strength that I had, that I chose to walk a path that was not the most promoted, and it was scary, it was dark. I didn't really have anybody supporting me like through it, in terms of people who had gone through, walked that particular path. And there was obviously just something in my gut that said, you need to be facing in this direction. Keep just walking. You'll find your people. You'll work it out. And so I'm pretty proud of the strength that I had to do that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's amazing. Hey, Nathan, it's Elliot here. How are you, mate?
Hey, mate. How are you?
Yeah, really good, thanks. And I just wanted to say, like, it's always good to listen to how different men, figure themselves out. You mentioned, a day or two after, you don't want to corrupt your mind. You just let it be and you're at peace for a bit, just to reset back to baseline. And I think even listening to you now, like, obviously I've got a job where I often fall into the trap where after I'm chasing down a closure on a negotiation, and I get that empty void after it's all done, even if and particularly when it is a success. And I think, I feel like, what's next? I have to keep going. Otherwise I start to really spiral down, and just like I lose my order, and I lose sort of, my process, and I'm in a state of like, what now? And then it's easy to sort of start getting grumpy and, maybe having a few extra beers or whatever. But, that little bit of advice there, just what you said, like, it's don't let your mind get corrupt. Just let it reset back to baseline. I've written that down, mate. That's epic, and it's so simple.
Nice. That's good
So
to hear.
simple,
I think sometimes you need a little bit of a tool. Like, it's not enough to just be present, right? Like, because you're competing with such a high adrenalized state of mind that's barking at you. That's basically just the offset. It's the after effects of the motor running hot, from a day or two before, right? So, and that's where I think just working that muscle of appreciation and gratitude is really important, because you have for every little goal that we kick, we need to take that time to appreciate what we've done and be grateful for what we've got. And there's always something to be grateful about, but on the other side of a gig or whatever you've done in business, a goal that you've kicked, you've got to take the time to stop and appreciate it. So I kind of see those little come down moments as rest periods to reflect and appreciate. Because if I don't appreciate and I don't work that muscle, I actually think, generally, I think I'm falling short when I'm not. I'm actually going up.
Yeah.
Well, the part that you said before, mate, about when you're on that high, the dopamine and all the adrenaline and things like that, you don't communicate with that guy.
Yeah.
Because that makes a lot of sense, because it's interesting. Like, we love those. We spoke about it last week on the podcast with Dr. Trish, right, about dopamine hits and things like that. We love them. We seek those dopamine hits, right? But when you're there and you're getting it, one, it doesn't last long. Until it's not the real you that's there, because that doesn't last forever. No. And so when you're in it, it's actually find that interesting. Don't communicate with that guy, because he's going to give you some bad advice. It's not you, not the real you.
Well, that's it. If you're not choosing to be the bouncer, then by default you're the guy pissed as a fart. Like they're the two in the equation. So, but I love what you said. You said the road was scary and dark, but I chose to walk it. That's a very deliberate action, and it's so good to hear, because so often we think, when things are going to get better, someday something will rescue us, or accidentally things might improve. But I love that intentional choice during the fact that it was scary and dark. That's the moment you chose. And I think, transitioning from being the drunk guy trying to get into the bouncer, actually regulating yourself, that is so encouraging to hear that it's doable, because most people think, I can't do that. And to hear you do that story, that's great.
Well, yeah, It's interesting you say that, because the paths that were presented to me kind of almost took away my power, in a sense that it made me feel like the way that I was actually nothing to do with how I had lived my life. Like it was a disease, like it was a thing that I'd got that was out of my control. And I can understand why it's quite seductive to not that there's any trickery, but to just, there's something inside us that goes, oh, thank God, all right, so it's not me. And then you subscribe to that, and then there's a path that comes with that. But my gut was just like, no, I don't want to give over that control to this other thing. Like, and I also don't buy it. So this other path was a path of going, all right, how did I get myself like this? Like, I wasn't born like this. Most of my life, I wasn't even like this. So something I was doing in my life, whatever it was, made me this way, and I have to figure out what that is. And for me, like, accountability is so powerful, and I'd love to see more of it in the world, because it's, I honestly, I just prefer to be in control. Like, I don't want to hand over my power to something else.
That's good.
And it's like, if I can make it, if you can point out where I've gone wrong, bring it on. I want to know where I've gone wrong so I can fix it. Don't tell me it's somebody else or something else that's wrong and I'm doing all the right things. Because then, well, now what am I going to do?
That's true, mate. It's true. Mate, if you can, I know we touched on it before, could you take us back to that time on the stage where, because at the start when I read out one of the stats at the moment in Australia is that 50%, say 1 in every 2 men, experience either depression or anxiety. That literally means that the 4 of us here on the panel, at least 2 of us right now.
Oh, no, boys. Who is it?
Yeah, put your hand up.
I'm too anxious to. So give it away.
I know. It's I know we touched on it last time we had a chat with you, mate. But take us back to that time on the stage there where it kind of overtook you, because I think a lot of men need to prep a bit more before that happens. Could you have prepped yourself better?
Yeah, absolutely. So, a run through of that moment was, we're talking 2-3 years into dealing with insomnia, where I was averaging a few hours sleep a night, lots of night terrors, and just this up and down roller coaster of dread and fatigue. That was my day. That was my day for a good few years, and it got really chronic. And I refused to take sleeping pills or any pills to help me through it. And I did go on like a little stint for a little bit, but I didn't like how they made me feel. And then, I was trying to tour in that, in that state. And I ended up doing a gig down at Queenscliff Music Festival. And I remember waking up and I also couldn't stomach much food. Like, it was just going straight through me, and it made me anxious that I couldn't eat, because I knew I needed the nutrients to make me strong enough to play. And, after I had 1 hour sleep that night, and I could hear the birds chirping, which was the worst feeling in the world, because I was like, well, my time is up. I've got to get into it. And so we got to the stage. It was a 40-degree day. And my partner at the time was doing backing vocals, and I just said to her, I can't, like, I don't even know what's real right now. Like, how the hell am I supposed to get on stage in front of 1,000 people? And I'm like, I need something. I need some sugar or something. And so she's racing around trying to get something, and she can't find anything. So she comes back, and we just ran out of time. And then they introduced me and the band. So I just threw myself up there, just praying to God that it was going to be okay. And I punched out a seriously high energetic rock show, because I thought, this thing's not going to beat me, and I'm just going to absolutely smash it. And I really gave it all, but I went over the other side. And the second last song, I hit a big note, and I looked at the crowd, and everything just kind of went blurry. I felt out of my skin, and I had a massive anxiety attack on stage. And then it kind of took me down to my knees. Like, it's where I just kind of blacked out a little bit. And then I just saw the side of the stage and I just ran. I ran off the stage in the middle of the second last song. I just took some breaths. At this stage, I had no education on what was going on in my body and my mind. This is just all what it's like living life from the point of view of reaction. You're just reacting to everything, right? And then I knew that I couldn't walk away from the gig. That was the only thing that if I felt like I could and I didn't give a shit about what people thought, I would have kept running. But I was like, no, I've got to finish this. The people have come to see the gig. So I got back up on stage, even though I was still having this anxiety attack. I finished off the last song and then collapsed on the ground after the gig. And then I just thought, shit, I gotta get to main stage in 2 hours' time to do another 1.5 hour set. And then that's when the anxiety attacks just threw me. I went back to the accommodation just up the road, locked myself in the bedroom, couldn't come out. Nobody there to help me. Nobody to tell me what to do. Like I really needed guidance. I really needed something. And yeah, I suppose I just put one foot in front of the other. I got back up on stage, did the thing, but I was not the same. Like I was nothing like what you guys saw the other night. Like I was a bit of a shell and I was very hesitant because I was just on guard about, am I going to have another panic attack on stage?
Wow.
Like, is this going to happen again? Because I didn't know what was triggering it or anything. It just felt like it was something else that was doing it. And that was it. And I think when I reflect on that experience, there's so many things, but like it 100% wasn't just this random thing that happened. You know, I was stuck in this loop of fear. So 3 or 4 years ago, I had an anxiety attack. Didn't know what it was. Didn't know why it was there, where it came from. So deep down, I was just on edge all the time about, am I going to have a panic attack? Am I going to have a panic attack? And it was this fear of big feelings, fear of feeling out of control of your mind and your body and all that. And as long as that fear is there, you just get stuck in that loop, you know, and it actually invites more of those situations. So my only real way out of that was eventually understanding my triggers, understanding what false beliefs I had, my thoughts in the moment, all the stuff that we learn about self-awareness, the mind and the body. And then that final thing was, I have to get back up on stage and lean into the idea that I might have an anxiety attack again, to know that all it is feelings. And nobody's ever died of a feeling.
It's like you become anxious about becoming anxious.
It's true. But before you had that kind of big panic attack and you collapsed on the stage, were you anxious before that? Like, you weren't afraid of fear then? It was.
Oh, I was terrified, but it like I didn't grow up that way. I wouldn't say fearless, but I had lean in mentality, just lean in, you know, if I'm sick, if I'm feeling this or that, you know, whatever, just keep pushing through and still talk about your feelings and stuff like that. But, I wasn't afraid of feelings. It was only when I was in my mid-20s, when I first started having panic attacks and I didn't know what they were. Then I started to lose trust in my body and my mind.
What does a panic attack look like?
What does it feel like?
Yeah, what does it feel like? What is it? I'm genuinely interested.
Yeah. So, you see, my mum had anxiety attacks. I used to roll my eyes at her, like, what are you talking about? You know, like and then it wasn't until I experienced my first one, and I'm like, holy shit, this feels like somebody has spiked my drink. You know, like it's like, so everyone experiences it in different ways. So some people will kind of feel just the heart palpitations, and it'll feel like it's out of the blue, or tightness in the chest, or like rapid breathing, and feeling just on edge. And mine kind of goes one step further, and they have theories on what the mechanism is, but they're not 100% on it. I feel like I'm dissociated. So almost like, the only way I can describe it is if you had a lot of pot and you greened out and you're feeling out of your body and a bit trippy and you're freaking out, that's how I feel.
Yeah, it feels like a
Sounds
Tuesday.
just like Steve.
Where am I?
Nath, thanks so much for jumping on, bro.
Legend.
No, my absolute pleasure. Well done on what you guys are doing. It's always a privilege to talk to you guys.
No, we appreciate you, man. Thanks for jumping on, man.
Can we get
Absolute
Nathan
legend.
back again soon? I really want to keep talking.
Yeah, mate. Mate, Nathan, we've already got your guitar up on display here behind Steve-O's head there. You're more than welcome to jump back anytime, mate, when you're passing through.
Yeah, for sure.
Reach out,
I'll be
bro.
up there next year for sure. Cool.
Excellent, man.
Thanks, guys.
Take care, man.
Enjoy.
mate.
See you, bro.
See ya. Bye.
Just a genuine all-round good dude, eh? Really, really good fella.
Absolutely.
Well, we've got up to our next guest. So, look, joining us now on the line is former NRL powerhouse. He joined us about 2 weeks ago on the panel, and we instantly hit it off like we're just old mates. He's a footy-turned-family and faith man, a man on his own mission to change what is within the mental health space himself. A guy that has more muscles in places than I even have places. Welcome back, Mr. Dayne Weston, buddy. How are you?
Oh, these intros are getting better. So
Can you
good.
hear me?
We got you, mate. You're
mate.
bit crooked on the screen, but we'll just have to tilt our head like this, mate. Here we go.
Okay.
There we
How
go.
are you, bro?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I can't see you guys.
You can't see us.
Oh, mate.
That's not a bad thing. I've got Mike next to me tonight, so not a bad thing.
Yeah, your before
I
shot.
actually did my hair like you today, so
Yeah, it's literally got a before shot and an after shot.
We'll
I'm gonna have to start employing you to do my intros.
you like you like the muscle one a bit. Well, good to have you back, buddy. Really, really good to have you back.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome, man. Well, quick, mate. Give me 1 second. I'm getting a notice here. You won't let it comment because live. For some reason, we're not being able to get comments. So, guys, if you are trying to send comments in for some reason, we're not coming through. Sorry about that. You can actually, you know what? Send them through direct message in the background there. We can see messages come through, and we'll put them through. So sorry about that. Don't know what's happening there. Bit of a tech
Send them
issue.
to PO Box
Dayne came on and broke the
379.
internet.
Dayne comes on and breaks the internet. Wow. Well, look, mate, we've chatted in the past about the whole raising awareness thing, and how we both, in the statement itself, we hate the statement. Why is raising awareness not enough?
Because we're already aware. Like once we've been made aware of something, you don't need to keep being aware of it when you've already understood it. So I feel like awareness is just bringing it to light. We all know the issue that we currently see every day, but it's what we need to put into action, and we need to be doing things practically to make change. Because I've said all along, it's like we can create all the awareness. All we're doing is doubling up. We're doubling up on what we've already created. So I just think we need to be more practical, and we need to be more hands and feet and actually going out there and making change. Because again, I just feel like the awareness thing is not having the impact it needs, because we know most people understand the stats we currently see with men's suicide rates. That's not changing. So something needs to change, and just telling people about it isn't the answer. We actually need to do it practically.
We were saying that before about the suicide rates, that they're changing, but they're going the wrong way. Like this, and this is what we were saying just before we kicked off about how ridiculous the whole raising awareness statement is nowadays, because we are so much more aware, but yet the stats are not only changing for the better, they're changing for the worse. Like it literally shows the ineffectiveness. Tell us a bit more. Tell the audience here, mate. Use our platform to grow what you're trying to do with your thing, mate. Because I know you've got a podcast starting. It's all about mental health. Tell us behind the passion and why you think mental health's there.
Yeah, mate. Look, my own story, mate, is what brought me to this. Wanting to make change. And when I started what I wanted to do, it was all about how can I, add value to this space. Now, the first thing was awareness was already there. So I'd be just copying everyone else and doing everything that everyone else has already seen. So I was like, how can I provide value that is not out there and we need to do more of? And there's no two ways about it. I've always said the only way through this and we get better is if we have these conversations. So I created a men's group, and it was the first group I had 73 men come through the door. Pretty courageous, and it was pretty blown away from that. It's gone up and down along that time. It's been almost 3 years now, and I just know that I want to continue to create that space. It's a free space. I never charge anyone to come and be vulnerable. It's a safe space where people can come and be heard. And I just know that that's what I can offer in my community. But it's only a small part. You know, everyone else can play their part. Now, I'm not saying they have to go and create a men's group. I'd love to see that. But even in our own friend circle, we can create that. We can have our 5 closest friends that we be intentional with every week, you know, or there are ways practically that we don't have to be so far out of our own circle to make change and actually to be intentional and implement that consistently. And so that's what I always say, you know, when men come to my group, I don't want them to go from not being open and vulnerable, and then come to my group and start being vulnerable, but then that's their only outlet. I want to be able for them to understand the power of vulnerability in my men's group to then implement that in their everyday life, because otherwise they're still not really practically doing it. They're just changing it from being inside to just one space, but not actually doing it where it matters. And for a lot of us with families and, you know, kids, it has a ripple effect, because if we don't actually own what we're going through and actually, you know, work through it and do the hard work, because it is messy, it's ugly, but it's worth it once we do the work. And I think that's the key for me. I want to see men be open, be courageous to come and share, understand they're not alone, but then from it, transfer that in their everyday life. And that's the transformation that I'd love to see in men. And as long as I'm still here, that's what I'll be always doing.
Yeah, so the message is turn vulnerability into accountability.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you have to take accountability for your circumstance. Now, sometimes that's, you know, we can't control that. You know, depending on every situation's different, and you know, let me be clear about that. But we are all where we are right now through choices and decisions and circumstance. You know, and at the end of the day, we have 2 ways. We either work through it to overcome it, or we stay where we are and keep getting the same result. Now, like I said, if we're in a family situation, that just doesn't impact the individual, it impacts everyone around them as well. And so I've always said in this space as well, if we don't make that decision to be courageous, like you just said then, take accountability to want to be better, essentially we're just handing this on to the next generation, our own children, to say that I didn't have enough in me to do it, so it's up to you to make change. And I think sometimes my tone sounds like I'm getting a bit angry here, but it's just passion, because I want to see change.
Okay, we're sorry.
Can you punch us from there? I don't know if you can, can he?
I reckon he's got the reach.
AI's around the corner.
We can hear the passion in your voice, dude. We can hear it.
Yeah. And I think if you hear people without that, you got to be wary. Like that. That's for us. That's encouraging too. And I know you just launched your first podcast, your story on there, which is fantastic, mate. And it goes to show you're doing more than just, you know, just raising awareness. And I'm really keen to see where this goes for you. I know, coming from, you know, a whole life of team environment, when we look at this, even from your point of view, what does a team around you look like as a man when we deal with mental health?
It's just a brotherhood, mate, for me. Like, obviously, I was like straight into rugby league from high school, had great mates growing up, and then straight into, you know, ready-made mates, 30 of them straight off the bat. So I've always been surrounded by that through my profession. And then post-career, it was a bit of a, you know, I went to play local footy, because naturally where you meet people, that's what you do. And for me, being on the Gold Coast and not know anyone, that's where I gravitated towards, because I work really well in that, you know, environment. Since not playing, been a fiery now, and I've got that, you know, brotherhood back at work, but I've also got a brotherhood of men in Christ as well, that it just continues. We've got a Bible chat tonight at 8:00, and we've been doing that for a while now. And I think it's important when you're on the same path as other people and have like-minded men that have the mission similar to yours. It just makes everything, you know, a lot better, but also just brings that accountability to the surface, because when you commit to being a part of something, and whether it's a sporting team, whether it is a brotherhood, or like for us, you know, our Bible chats on a Wednesday night, it keeps our faith strong, and it just keeps us all accountable. But knowing that we've got so many people around us, because community is everything. And if we don't have that purpose, and we don't have that place where we can go and, you know, interact with people, like, it can be a lonely place out there. And I say that for a lot of men, is a lot of issue around mental health is loneliness, because they either don't play sport anymore because of an age thing, and then if they're just doing mundane work and they're not happy with what they're doing, where do they meet people? And usually it's at a pub, and it's in a bad setting, because if they're not doing well mentally, the last place you want to be is at a pub getting drunk and then meeting people, because the behaviour won't match where you want to be heading in that direction. So I think that I'm really grateful that I've got great community behind me. My gym of a morning, I've got my brothers in Christ, like is a foundation for me. But it all comes back to I've got people around me that if I'm struggling, I know I can go to. At the same time, I've got a lot of people that I love to look out for as well. It goes both ways, but super important,
Spot on. I mean, I actually want to say something, what you said before about intention and mateship with intention, like intentional friendships. We've introduced this accountability thing recently, and I was just thinking about the conversation that you and I had this week, Steve. And this is where I think mateship needs to make a major turn, because it's very easy for Aussies to slip into, what we've said before about the whole giving people an opportunity to respond with one word. Hey, mate, how you going? Good. Yeah, good. Whereas what Steve and I did this week, because I noticed it with you and I did the same thing back to you intentionally, which was instead of the whole, hey, mate, how was your week? Or, hey, mate, have a good week. It was, Wayne, what do you plan to do more of this week? And what do you plan to do less of? And then I wrote one back to you, like, give me one high or one, like, give me the high and the low of whatever it was. But I love that, man, intention, because I think that's where mateship misses the mark, is that a lot of it is without intention. It's just go with the flow, mundane. Hey, mate, how you going? Good. But when there's intention behind it, it cracks the shell, it goes deeper, and you go, wait a minute, I'm vulnerable now, I'm open now. Now I'm going to be held accountable to make the change. Yeah. Massive, man. Love what you said there.
That's good.
So true. Like, just to sort of, I suppose, clarify that for me, everyone I deal with mental health, and it's been quite a while I've been in this sector, but the reality is no one I've dealt with is actually alone, but nearly everyone feels alone. And just to highlight that, that's probably some of your journey. I think most people have dealt with mental health somewhere, has been at a point where they just feel absolutely alone. But when they've come out of it, they've seen that there are people there, there's options there, there is ways forward. But in that space, it feels so dark that you think, I'm the only person here. That's such a danger. And I think, as you said, Dwayne, mateship is going further, mate. How you doing? Just pressing a little deeper, and, with the vulnerability is on both sides. It takes vulnerability to ask sometimes and get to that next level. I mean, I know I wrote a big essay back to you in that text and never heard anything back. But so no, who's probably one person that you realised was there the whole time that you might not have recognised in the moment? Like, so a shout out to someone who was kind of there the whole time for you.
For me,
yeah.
One of my best mates, Sean Maloney, he was the one that told me that I need to wake up. Like, he was seeing my journey, seeing me party, seeing me carry on the way I was, even after what I had done and survived. He was always in the background, knew who I was, and was watching me almost self-destruct for such a long time. I knew he was always there. I probably should have listened to him a lot earlier, but no matter what I was going through, he was always there, and I think the key thing I want to mention before, and this is what Sean did really well, Sean didn't try to fix me. I think it's important for people out there that are like supporting people who are struggling. It's not up to you to fix like anyone. If you've got a friend that's struggling, the best thing you can do for them is be there to listen.
Yeah, that's great.
Because we can, there's a lot of us that we want to find a solution. It's like, oh no, like one of my mates is struggling with this. I just don't know what to do with them. It's not up to you. But the best like example you can be for them is just be there to listen, because I feel like that loneliness and feeling alone or the only one going through it, sometimes they don't feel like they are heard. And there have probably been occasions for a lot of men where they've gone to be vulnerable, whether it's their wife, friends, and it's been met with a bit of negativity, or it's been thrown away or not taken serious. So then it's almost like touching the fire. Like, they know if they do that again, they're going to get burned. So then they close off even more. So I think a big one for that is just to be a great listener, because they just want to get it out, and you want to allow them to that space to get it out. And I was talking on a podcast today about this, and it's important, like we say, oh, how you going, mate? It's almost like greeting these days. We never get an answer. Like I'll say, hey, mate, how you going? And he'll literally say the exact same thing, and we both don't answer. It's just become a greeting, here in Australia. That's just how we talk.
Yeah.
But it's actually, you might ask someone how you going, but it's a closed off question. You can't really elaborate too much. But what you're saying before, Wayne, like those questions that you can actually elaborate on and actually, go into more detail are the questions you want to be asking.
Yep.
But two, it's important to the setting where you're asking them, because if you've asked me a question that I want to be vulnerable and I'm, at the shops or I'm somewhere where there's a heap of people around, I mightn't tell you what you want to hear because it's not the right place.
That's a good thought.
So, if you've got someone, don't give up on someone, because if you've got that gut feeling or you've got that sense something's a bit off with, a friend or whoever, you feel at that time, just keep following that up. Be consistent and persistent with it in a real calm but not pushy way, because we don't have the answers, but it's important that we just continue to show people that we are there.
100%, and it's remarkable what 24 hours difference can make with a bit of time. Hey, like your whole life can change in 24 hours. It can change in an hour. It can change in 5 minutes, and that's something that you got to be aware of too, I guess, when you're in those times or you're dealing with a mate that's going through those times. Like it's an extra bit of shoulder to lean on can make a world of difference, because often I had a schoolmate recently that, he fell to suicide, and it was just like, I didn't know him that well, but I just know, like, I've been through some struggles myself as well in life, and, you just have to, you have to give it a little bit of time. You have to give a little bit of thought. And I think knowing that from my personal experience, it seems so easy. It's an easy ticket to just give someone a bit of time. Just to hear what you said, just hear what they got to say. You don't have to come up with the answer. It's just time.
Yeah, spot on. Dayne, I know you need to shoot off, buddy. So once again, thanks so much for being a part of it, mate. You're an absolute legend. Love what you're doing. I'm going to support as best we can. Said it before, I'll say it again. If there's something that we can do here to help you and push you and support you, mate, you just reach out, dude.
Awesome. Appreciate it, guys.
Legend.
Thanks, mate.
Take it
easy, buddy.
See you, mate.
See you guys.
Just some good lads so far, eh? Some genuine rock solid fellas, tell you what.
The show's got a few good friends, right? When we're getting some of these guys on there.
I think
Amazing what money can do, eh?
There's money involved. There's money involved. That's awesome. Look, we're going to move into a slightly different area now. Obviously, tonight as a whole, we're focusing more on men's mental health, but men are made up of the physical and spiritual too, which, unbeknown to most, the physical and spiritual parts of us men largely affect our mental health. Joining us now is a very good friend of mine who I've known since I was 15 years old. We've travelled China together when we were 18. He's the senior pastor of Zion Church all the way up to the top of Australia in Darwin. Long-time buddy of mine, Pastor Troy Davis. Troy, how are you, bro?
Wayne, good. How are you?
Good, mate. Loving the backdrop there of the aircon. Everyone in Darwin's got 7 of those per house, haven't they?
He's got aircon and he's still sweating.
No, we've got a cyclone coming maybe in 2 days, so we're just running the aircons like crazy.
Really?
Just to be safe. Yes, we do, actually. Yes.
Yeah, right. Sorry to hear. And about your hair too. Sorry to hear about that. What's going on there, buddy?
Well, I mean,
I can't say much.
There's a chance it could start falling out, so I'm growing it just to contingency plan.
My hairline's gone as far back as my neck now. It's all the way back. Well, thanks for joining us, buddy. I know you've got a cyclone coming and need to prep, mate. Appreciate you jumping on. Mate, question. A lot of men see faith as soft and passive, but you've lived the opposite. What do you think a spiritually strong man brings to his family, his community, and his own mental battle that a man without faith simply can't access? What's the difference?
Yeah, man, it's a good question. And it's interesting you say that people see it as soft and passive. I actually see it as the opposite. I've been a Christian since I was 14 years old. I'm 46 now. And I have to say, it would have been so much easier to not be a Christian. And so in my view, it's really not soft and passive at all. But, like a strong family, strong man, I think there's perspective. I think when you look at just where the world's heading, and what we need right now is perspective. And man, I'm so glad that I've been married 22 years now. I've got 3 amazing kids. My oldest is almost 18. And I just look at the state of our family is not perfect by any means. But I just look at that and I just go, you know what? I don't know if I could have done this without faith being the centerpiece. I really don't.
Bishop TD, long-time listener, first-time caller.
Yes. Who's
Just
this?
Steve Hunter.
Where do we All I can see is AJ.
It's Steve Hunter, bro. How you doing?
Steve Hunter, long time no see. All here. Yeah, Steve Hunter. He's an influencer.
Mate, come on. I've got 4 people now on social media and 2 is my mum. Hey, often we talk about emotional, mental, physical, right? When it comes to mental health, they're usually the 3 we focus on. Faith and spirituality for some people, whatever sort of you used to describe that, but what part does faith have for someone going through mental health battles and mental illness?
I know I mentioned the word perspective. I'm going to say it again. When in some sense, and look, I've been branded all sorts of things for believing what I believe, but when you have your faith as like an anchor point, I have to say it changes the way that you approach things. Okay. Now, I'm not trying to get pity points here. And I was thinking, should I even share this? And I will. I got given a letter just over 18 months ago. And I'm 46. And I mean, I feel like I'm pretty healthy. I'm not super healthy, probably as some of your other guests that were on tonight's program or that will be. But I'm not bad, But I got given a letter that said, I got a prognosis. I got told I've got 180 months to live on average. Okay. And it's a whole nother story. I actually got diagnosed with a blood cancer. Okay. And it was just a total blindside. Honestly, didn't see that coming. But when you have that hit you, man, I could have easily spiraled into all sorts of chaos. I could have allowed my mind, and I wasn't perfect, but man, I could have let my mind take me down routes that just would not have been helpful for anyone in my circles. But man, honestly, having Jesus, and and some people say, what if it's all a myth? I'm like, well, man, if I'm brainwashed, I'm enjoying it. I'm loving it. It's helping me really walk steady, walk strong. But honestly, I look at that and I say, mate, I don't know how I would do this without faith being that real center. I don't know how I could navigate it. And so I look at some of the challenges that we face in the world, and I understand when for some people they don't have that anchor. For some people they don't know who to lean to. And yep, there's some self-help books, there's some good things out there. There's probably some great fitness programs, there's fake AI programs that are going to help you. There's all sorts of things that are going to help you. But I don't know if it's actually going to really help the core issues. I don't know if it's going to actually help the things that matter the most. And I'm pretty young, but man, when you get told that you've got a sentence, a death sentence, and I haven't allowed it to grip me, man, it starts allowing you to think, man, what's really important in this world right now? And how am I going to get through this? How am I going to get through this without breaking down, without not knowing who I can turn to? And so, mate, I'm in a pretty peaceful place. I'm in a place where I go, hey, I feel like I'm very mentally healthy, spiritually healthy, working on the physical, but I'm getting there. I'm on my way in the right direction. Yeah.
Oh, that's great, mate.
Troy, what would you say to someone who doesn't have faith and just got that same diagnosis that you did, mate?
Okay, you know what? When you get that diagnosis, it becomes a real reality check. Okay, why am I even here? What's the purpose? Am I just gonna drift off? And so I would say to someone, if they had a similar, and there are obviously people fighting some serious battles out there, so that's why I'm not asking for pity points. I would actually say, hey, where do you put your hope? Because you know what? When you get told you've only got potentially a shorter time to live than you were hoping for, all of a sudden your bank balance doesn't really matter. The brand of clothing you're wearing doesn't really matter. Some of the things that you thought matter, or the car you drive, all of a sudden it's like, wait a second, what does happen next? And I would say to someone, if they're in a place of, trauma or suffering, or, to a lesser, or to maybe, who knows who your listeners are, there may be people going through amplified to what I'm going through. I would say, man, this Jesus, he could either only be three things. He could either only be either a liar, and he was, he tried to deceive us. Um, he tried to pull the wool over humanity's eyes. And if he was that, he succeeded, because here we are 2,000 years later still talking about him. But it did cost him his life. He was either a lunatic, maybe he thought he really was this powerful man, this son of God that could forgive sins. Maybe he thought that. And maybe it turns out he couldn't. But if he couldn't, well, I mean, here we are again. Here we are still talking about him. People still sing about him. People still swear about him. I'm amazed people don't swear about other gods or other pop stars, but they still use the name of Jesus in their vocabulary. So he's either a liar, lunatic, or I think he has to be telling the truth. And I've come to the conclusion, and maybe some people say it was blind faith. Probably a lot more blind faith in 1993 when I first became a Christian. But the longer I've actually been a Christian, man, the more my faith has been consolidated by the evidence, by the facts, by the evidence of changed lives. And so I would say to someone, if they're going through some stuff, I would say there is a God, and he actually loves you, and he did send his son Jesus for you. And I would say there is hope on the other side, despite maybe the doctor's reports or despite the chaos that someone's living in right now. There is hope.
Appreciate you, bro. I didn't expect you to tell your story, mate. I know you touched on it, but I thank you for it, mate. It's very, open and honest, mate, because I do know what you're going through.
Yeah, I didn't take that lightly, because it really wasn't, again, I wasn't trying to use it as sort of this central point, but I did. I felt as you asked me to come on, I was like, you know what, maybe I should share a bit of that story. And of course, there's so much more to it. But you know what, it doesn't look like it's having an effect on me physically right now. And I think that's the mystery of this diagnosis is things could progress. Obviously, with faith as my anchor, I'm believing that I'm going to get 360 months. I'm believing for double. I'm believing for a double plus, to be honest. I don't want to be 120, but I'm actually believing, hey, that I could defy the odds and see my kids grow up, see my grandkids, see some of those awesome milestones that, man, I was hoping to see. Yeah.
Awesome, buddy. Well, mate, go prep yourself for that cyclone.
Yes.
Thinking of you, buddy. And I thank you for thanks for joining, mate. Really, really appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you. And Stephen, good to hear from you, mate.
Yeah,
and
you too,
I might join your channel too there, mate. We'll make it 5.
Come on, man.
It's a couple more than my channel.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Hit the share button. I will, man. I'm there. And
You're
I
a
can't
legend.
see you guys. All I can see is the average Joe's logo.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there.
I hope
That's all you
that's
need to
okay.
see.
We are here.
Yeah. All right. Good. Yeah, you're real. It's all good. Okay.
Legend, buddy.
Thanks.
Good on you, mate. Thanks,
again,
mate.
Wayne.
See you,
Cheers,
bud.
mate. Okay.
Hey, do you think if we did live to 120, they'd finally hit net zero?
We'll still be arguing about it, I reckon. Oh, he's a good lad, Troy. I've known him he's one of my longest lasting friends, I tell you.
Best memory I have of Troy used to, on the PlayStation, he knew that EB games you could return a game within 7 days if you weren't happy. And he would take a week off work and he would play it until it's finished to get it back before, and he never paid for a game in his life. Genius.
Yeah, I'll tell you, he is without, and he'll
That aircon's probably not even real.
he'll actually appreciate me saying this. He's the biggest tight ass I know.
Oh,
I think he actually aims for it.
Yes, but only to himself. He doesn't make anyone else off.
Brett's now on the screen and he can't see us, and he's
We better introduce him. Yeah, we're not talking about that. No, well, look. Next up, we do have we have an award-winning mindset coach, author and speaker, known internationally for helping men break old patterns and rebuild lives with purpose. His own journey from collapse to clarity makes him one of Australia's most powerful voices on mindset transformation. Fitness fanatic and all-round health advocate, Mr. Brett D. Scott. Mate, welcome to the podcast, buddy.
Thank you, mate. Appreciate it. Happy to be here.
Sorry, we hope we didn't keep you waiting too long, mate.
No. Look, if you don't have patience, there's something wrong, right?
Yeah, that is true. Well, our sound tech guy said Brett's threatening to leave if you don't cut now. I'm joking, mate. I'm joking. Mate, we really appreciate you having you, mate. It's did a bit of research or more research on you this afternoon, and you're actually you're a good dude, man. You're doing some good things, and you bloody awards everywhere, and you got more trophies, and you're like a bloody Olympian.
Thank you. And yes, and it's really, and I'm sure, I know you know my friend Leon, I'm sure he would say the same thing. It really isn't about the trophies. It's just about the fact that when you're trying to get your message out further, having some more credibility definitely helps.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more, mate. To be totally honest with you, that's a good way of putting it. We say that a lot here. It's a lot of the stuff that we do, well, all the stuff I should say, all the stuff that we do, isn't to get the awards, isn't to get the accolades. It's to reach that man out there that could possibly see some change in his life, and that's the award, really. Those are the testimonies that come back of seeing change. That's a trophy.
Do you know, you won't believe it. Actually, no, you probably will believe it. I literally just messaged something like that to someone seconds ago.
Oh, really?
I'm
It
not
was
even
me. That's why I believe it.
I'm not even joking. Let me just put it up. He said, anyway, I said many awards, but more importantly, many transformations. To a mate of mine that we both used to be concierges in hotels many moons ago.
Yeah, right.
Being that I'm 50 now, and we both worked in Melbourne as concierges, and so helping people has been something a big part of my life for a very long time, but in a different way that I do it now. And so yeah, it's interesting because I literally seconds ago I just messaged something similar.
Picked up
So
on the
we're
brain
we're
pattern.
on the same page.
Yeah,
I'm
definitely on the
excited
same
to do
page, mate. Well, look, man, we really appreciate. We won't hold you long, mate, because I know it's getting late tonight. But listen, when it comes to the physical, we're talking about the building up of a man. You know, the mental, the spiritual. I want to talk a little bit about the physical. People
Yeah.
always say a man should move his body when his mind is struggling. What makes physical activity such a powerful first step for mental health in men?
Well, I mean, the science would tell you that there's all the different chemicals that we produce in our own body that get activated once we actually get our body moving. And interestingly, I don't know if you know or if you knew, but I used to be a personal trainer and I used to run a gym. So I definitely understand it from a personal level, and of course, helping people in that arena. But even in the work that I do in mindset, literally, funny enough, even today with another client,
I knew this. I
or
knew this. I
with a
promise.
client. What was that?
I said I knew this. I just brain patterns, mate. Picked up on it.
I didn't tell you this, but yeah, another client today, he was really struggling, and as a man, interesting, not to be off track. It was a man, and he was really having a hard time. And I said to him, mate, you need to get outside. You need to get into nature. You need to move your body. And there was a number of other things that I suggested, or tools that I reminded him that he has in his arsenal. And I said, you need to go and do these things. And he did. And in a very, like, within, I don't know, maybe half an hour, he was able to think clearer. He was able to actually make better decisions, and he was able to communicate better with some people that he was actually having a bit of a struggle with. So moving your body, it activates the natural chemicals in our body that enables our mind to actually be able to operate. We get more focus, more clarity. I would say for me, I get downloads, and maybe you might call it intuition or connection to source, or Leon might say connection to God. Doesn't really matter what the word is, but yeah, it definitely makes a huge difference. If I didn't train every single day, I feel like my mind is definitely not operating the same way. So it's a huge and important part.
Absolutely. Hey, and being wide into nature, I think that's like you said, you go being in the trees or going for an ocean swim and coupling that in with physical, intense, what do you say, output. I think that's how we're wired as men, isn't it? Like it's a fight or flight system. We need that to keep us going. I think that probably stems back to, our, I don't know, how we're put together. Yeah.
100%.
Do you know, today I don't know if you've ever heard of an Indian guru named Sadhguru, and Sadhguru's, got millions of followers. Of course, a lot of them in India, but actually he's very well known.
All paid for.
Internet. Sorry, what was that?
All paid for.
Yeah, and but interestingly, he had a former UFC fighter meet with him, and he got this guy got a couple of his books signed, and he said to him, "Hey, what do you actually? How do you feel about men fighting?" And he said, "Well, I think men fighting in a ring and in a controlled environment is actually really good. It's actually men need to actually exert themselves, and if they're doing it in a controlled environment, it's much better than killing themselves on the streets." So I think we are, and he was referring as well back to, when we were perhaps cavemen and chasing tigers and maybe dinosaurs, we were hunting. And so, we have to sort of convert that into something else. Now, I'm not saying to the audience that you've got that we should be going out and getting into the ring, unless that's something that you really want to do. And if you've spoken to my mate Leon, he definitely did that a couple of weeks ago or a few weeks ago. So, yeah, I definitely think moving our bodies, those men, I think men and women, but as men, we have a different type of energy that needs to be exerted. We've got testosterone running through our body, and so some of us maybe more than others if they're, adding stuff into their body. Not suggesting that either, but just saying that that's the thing.
Hey, adding.
Bigger the body, the more testosterone. Right?
I'm not sure if this is one of your
Cuddly,
texts as well, Brett, but I'll hopefully, fingers crossed, I'm on the tune. But it's interesting when you talk to guys. I think the idea of process on how to get fit and what fitness does to us is not a mystery anymore. Right? We've YouTubed so much stuff. There's so much content. I think if you ask any average guy, how do you get fit and what's the importance of it? I think pretty accurately they'd be able to give you a good description of why. Yet we see this being a major impact for so many people. What is the difference? I know, the process not the issue, but commitment to the process is a massive issue. How do we keep getting stuck with knowing what to do, yet failing to take action on it? Where do we go wrong?
Well, I'm going to say to you that from my own experience and also helping a lot of different clients, it's actually the inner world that stops us from creating, strong habitual behaviors, or we might call discipline, which for some people is a dirty word. And creating discipline, it comes down to, and this, by the way, is just my opinion, comes down to self-worth. It comes down to the way that you love or don't love yourself. And so the people who know what they should do and don't do it, and I've put my hand up and say, I've definitely been one of those. I had more excuses than anyone on the planet. In fact, if there was a world championship for excuses, I probably would have won it. So when I went through a lot of changes and recognized there was a lot of healing that was required, a lot of childhood trauma. And in fact, I never actually thought I had any trauma. And that was because I was looking at my perhaps, seemingly, and they were more than seemingly negative experiences as a child, and comparing it to my own mother, who had been through some really serious stuff. And so I thought, well, I haven't been through any trauma. My mum's been through trauma. I haven't. Didn't understand it, right? But when I finally got the awareness and the understanding, and then finally started to go through the changes, I was able to create a lot more discipline. And I was able to create a lot more positive behaviors. And so habitual behaviors, as you guys probably know, anywhere from 21 to 28 days is how you form a habit. And they say anywhere up to 90 days is how you create the, consistent lifestyle of that particular habit. And so, after I went through a lot of healing, I finally started to really lock in. Like, discipline was like my breakfast. It was like something I was so locked into going through some really difficult moments, because see, change or transformation or changing the way that your subconscious mind has a program for how things operate, it's very uncomfortable. because your subconscious has a program running. It wants you to get back on track. And so you have to go through the struggle, right? And it's the same thing. You're talking about physical activity. It's the same thing when we go to the gym, when we train. You want to get bigger muscles, or you want to actually get a new PB. What do you got to do? You got to struggle. You got to push through some really significant pain. And so my answer, long-winded answer, is to say to you that my belief is that until people get, first of all, the realization that they've got some inner work that needs doing and some healing, they won't actually be able to create really strong habitual behaviors that enables them to have, whether it be a better body, or maybe it means that they lose weight, or maybe it means that they feel better. Maybe it means that they actually look jacked and ripped, whatever it is that their goal might be.
Awesome, mate.
Yeah.
Mate, look, when you look at men who are mentally solid, what do they consistently do differently in their thinking compared to men who fall apart?
Do you know, I think the big thing is, and this is where what I was saying before, I think is really important, because people or men, we're talking about men who have an ability to do that. They have a strong mindset because they're feeling more worthy. They've created boundaries. They've created structure. And so what it means is, it doesn't mean that they don't have bad days. It doesn't mean that, like, even when I think about my own life, there are days where, I feel like I don't know if I can keep going, but I remind myself how far I've come. And so I think part of the process is, a big part of the process, which is going to sound very simple and maybe even, a bit basic, and that is gratitude. Just even if you just start to think about, what am I actually grateful for, especially in those moments where you're struggling to get yourself back on track. I think this is what men who have strong mindsets and abilities to do things that other men don't. It's because they stop, they assess where they're at, they allow themselves to feel the emotion of whatever that might be, and they remind themselves of how far they've come. And they say to themselves, okay, what do I need to do now? Because I think that where people struggle and where people overwhelm themselves and then end up in procrastination is they're looking at the big picture, they're looking at the end goal, and they're thinking, I just don't know how I can get there. Rather than, okay, I know where I want to go. What do I need to do today? Or what do I need to do right now that will move the needle? And I think it's as simple as that. It's about creating simple structure that enables you to move. And what happens when we move is we get into momentum. And when we're in momentum and we start to see some things that are actually working, we go, what if I try this? What if I do this? What if I do that? And then we start to tick off, let's call it a few boxes, and we move ourselves in the right direction. So that's what I see in men who have very strong mindsets and ability to do things that some men, seemingly can't.
Awesome, mate. Well, look, we're not going to keep you too much longer, mate. I really appreciate your time jumping on this late at night, buddy. Thank you so much. Love what you're doing. Look more into what you're doing there, mate, with the mindset stuff, because that's literally where I'm at in life right now, getting the mindset and getting the right patterns and those kind of disciplines, mate. So, look, thanks for joining us, buddy. Really, really appreciate it.
You're very welcome. And just so you know, I could talk for hours on this stuff.
So we might get you back actually for a full episode. Then we'll get you up in the studio.
Oh, mate, I would love to. And yeah, I'm not joking. It's like, talking about this stuff gives me energy. When I've had so many different careers over my life, and this is the only work that every single day I'm studying something to keep upgrading what I know. And then when I get to talk about it, some people say, I'm sorry to get you to talk about work. And I go, no, I can talk about work till the cows come home, because I love it so much.
Well, I might do that, mate. I might reach out to you and get you. Let's do an episode around like the mindset of men. And awesome. Mate, let's do that. I'd love to do that, mate. Really. I absolutely can, will, and I'll hold you to it.
And we promise we'll stop tracking your phone messages too. That'll be our deal.
We'll ask you questions that weren't texted half an hour prior.
You're a classic. I love
Legend,
it.
buddy.
I appreciate you guys.
Appreciate you.
And I do have actually a mate so I just got back from Boston. We did this incredible 3-day seminar. It was a global summit over in Boston for Positive Prime. And one of my former clients, who's an incredible men's resilience coach, he helps divorced dads or men going through the struggle of separation. His name's Abdul, and I'll put you in touch with him. He's another guy who's doing some incredible stuff with men one guy in particular who was homeless for I believe over 30 years. And he helped him to get off the street, to actually get accommodation. And now I think he got a job and he's doing incredible. So, I think we need more men out there, because as you guys know, and I remember when I finally realized, oh shit, I am a typical male. Oh shit, I am a bit toxic. I was like, okay, I've got a lot of fucking issues. Great. Excuse my language. But the problem is most men, they're so afraid to let anyone know that they're broken, to let anyone know that they don't have the solution for the problem. And so we need other men who can actually shine a light and can be vulnerable and say, I fucked up. I did this. I was the problem. I really was in my marriage. And, so I can definitely talk into this, and I love what you guys are doing.
Appreciate that, mate.
Beautiful.
Thank you, mate.
Thanks once again, buddy. Thanks for joining us, and I'll reach out, bud.
Thank you.
Legend.
See you,
See you,
guys.
buddy.
Okay,
Catch you, mate.
Bye.
Mate, vulnerability and gratitude's coming up a lot today.
It's just, I guess, anything to do in this space, I hear that word vulnerability. I mean, just not.
Still makes me feel a bit.
I know. I'm going to be honest. When I hear the word, it makes you feel vulnerable. When I do hear the word vulnerable, I do go, like it. It has a stigma of a weakness about it, because it does seem like I go, oh, the guy's vulnerable. It feels like he's open to. I don't know. Look,
It's almost a problem. Like, feels like
It's true. Well, I'm going to reach out to him because I think that would make actually a good episode. Literally all about the mindset, because I think disciplines, all that kind of stuff. When we've talked about it before, being comfortable, being uncomfortable, battling self-control. I think getting the right mindset's massive. So yeah,
all I could hear.
My biggest problem when he was saying vulnerable was like Wayne had his hand on my knee, and I'm like,
you seemed vulnerable.
That was my hand, man. You seen how long my arm is?
Well, look, moving on to our next guest. Look, our last guest on the list is just some random dude that just won't go away.
Wearing our shirt.
And look, if our Facebook Reels had a triple like button, he'd still be trying to hit it twice. I've tried blocking him, deleting him, even reporting him. But just like an old ex with unlimited data, we just can't seem to get rid of him. He's the type of guy that pops in for a 5-minute chat but brings a sleeping bag. I've forgotten his name. It's JJ something or other. You there, mate? He can't hear us after all that.
he's blocked you.
He's actually blocked us.
What a wonder.
You there, bud?
He's on mute.
You're on mute.
How do you
Samuel,
unmute?
how about you unmute him for us? All right. We got you there, bud.
That was a good rehearsal.
That was a good practice.
That was good.
It took me so damn long to write that.
Brings a sleeping bag to a 5-minute chat.
Bringing your best tonight, man.
Oh, you like those ones?
Well, that was fun. Thank you.
Well, that's he actually deleted us. He's actually blocked us. Can't even get him. I'm sure John will join us soon. But
Hey, did you do a man vs machine this week?
I did.
Mate, come on.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to leave John waiting. He's going to be popping back in a second. Samuel, we've got John there.
He left. You hurt his feelings.
He's
He's just gone, Wayne, you're too rude.
We'll try again. He's going to join us any minute. But going back to the mindset thing and that vulnerability thing, because I do want to talk about it a bit more. I actually don't like the word vulnerable, but it seems to be tied into so many things when it comes to the man's space of anything. Oh, I've got to be vulnerable. Why? Why do we need to be vulnerable? Do you think vulnerable is the person on this end going, oh, I'm open to receive, compared to if you're a true mate, it's like, hey, listen, I need to see the truth regardless?
What if we replace it with transparent? Because vulnerable is being open and honest. What if we just said transparent? Would that hold the same amount of power as vulnerable?
Yeah, but the word vulnerable comes from not the person, but the person delivering their opinion on that person, yeah?
Bro, I thought you were going to give us Greek history or something. I thought,
Yeah.
in the Latin.
Pronounce vulnerable.
Vulnerable.
I know that didn't make sense, but in my mind it made sense. But how can I reword it? Like, it's a label, yeah? no one self-proclaims their vulnerability, do they? It's something that you put on someone based on
Yeah,
their
the whole
actions.
nature of it is a weakness, right?
That's a good thought. Yeah.
I think it can also be a posture though, on how we look at things. So it is a label, definitely, 100% agree with that. But also the posture we take, I think it comes from both sides. There's an element of onus on both sides to sort of share that vulnerability.
Yeah.
Like it's not just one or the other. But yeah, the idea of being vulnerable for most men does come across as weakness. Even being called vulnerable is an attack and an offence sometimes.
Yeah, but if you say you're vulnerable for, like, you can be vulnerable for the love of your wife. Like, I mean, that's acceptable. So I mean, it depends how it's applied. Yeah.
Yeah. So the context makes a big difference.
Yeah. So then, when we're saying vulnerable in this context, then what are we actually referring to? Oh, come on, mate! You need to be vulnerable. You want real change, you need to be vulnerable. It looks like John's back. You there, buddy?
Context.
I am. How's that?
We've got him now. We've got him.
Mate.
All right. Did you hear
I
my?
thought you dunked us.
Yeah. Did you hear my intro? Looks like John's back. You there, buddy?
I am. How are you? I am. How's that?
Hey, actually, it looks like we're getting a lot of feedback there, mate. Is that your computer that feedback back to us?
Yeah. And here I was going, I had all my own little speech all written up, and I was just going, oh no, what's going on now?
Well, I just gave you a kick-ass intro, mate, so you're going to have to go back and listen to that. But I do have a real one to give you. So you ready for the real one?
Sure.
Okay. Well, look, he's the complete stranger that very quickly became a great friend of mine. He's the survivor turned thriver, author of an absolutely incredible life-changing book, Tarzan Loves Jane. He's a huge supporter of the show and advocate for men's health. Here tonight to take us through his top 3 points of his latest book, Battle Armour, is my good mate, John Comerford. Mate, welcome. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Great intro. Can't wait to hear the other one.
I couldn't do it again. I carried the punchline. It was just so good. And then you're just there going, I can't hear you. Like, wow, what a build up. What a letdown.
Samuel can cut all this out and re-edit it.
Yeah, I have to, mate. I'm going to battle my own mental health issues now because I feel rejected after all that. So, well, buddy, welcome to the show, mate. And I'll be seeing you in a week and a half.
I know. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited for that
get
dessert
the
menu
mirror.
we mentioned.
Yeah. We'll go. Yeah, let's can't wait to go to the restaurant, but don't forget the mirror.
I won't forget the mirror. No, I won't do that at all. Well, mate, listen, your first book I loved. I'm about, I think, 4 chapters into your Battle Armour. Mate, I want you to pick apart your top 3, pull apart your top 3, or actually just take us through whatever you feel about Battle Armour, because it's literally it's like a toolbox for men around mental health, and I want you to give us your heart, mate. So it's all yours, buddy.
All right, thank you. And hello, everyone. So I think I'll just talk about the 3 that people have mentioned already, and then I'll just talk about 3 tools where I think it's really beneficial for men. So the first chapter is called Courage and Conviction, and people have already spoken about that tonight. And courage is obviously, taking the courage if you're suffering from mental health or you're having problems, is to speak up about it. That's courage. Conviction is following through and actually doing it, because a lot of people, they know they're not actually feeling well and struggling a little bit, but they talk about, and usually they talk about it to themselves. And I spoke about it to myself for a very long time. I need to get help. I need to get help. Never got help until I found that conviction to go and get help. And the reason I was honest with myself. And I think someone's spoken about that already. You really have to be honest around the situation that you're in. So if you put those 3 together, about, they're the first 3 tools in the book. And I think they're really important. I think, the other 3 speakers tonight, I think every single one of them spoke about some similar around that. The 3 tools that, are probably my 3 favorites is because they're quick and easy. And as men, we don't want to have to sit down and, spend 2 hours trying to come up with something to help with our mental health. We want something that'll give us instantaneous gratification. And the first one for me is yelling. I live near Coogee Beach. There's cliffs. I can do it in my car. I do it when I ride my motorcycle. If I feel like I'm getting overwhelmed with something around my mental health, I just scream. I just yell. I yelled as loud as I can. And there's a couple of things that happen. When you yell really as loud as you can, And then when you finish, about 4 to 5 seconds later, you'll just feel this sensation, a calming sensation come over you because you've let out frustration, anger, whatever you've let that out. So it's pretty automatic. And if you try and do it again straight away after you yell, you won't be able to yell with the same ferocity that you did the first time. So you already got that instant relief. You wouldn't have to do it more than 3 times to start feeling better. And I love doing it. Probably not the neighbours who live up near the cliffs at Coogee, but they probably don't like me doing it. But you know, it's. I had my son do it as well, and he had the same sort of sensation afterwards. So it's quick, it's easy, and you'll get something out of it straight away.
Mate, my wife hates it when I do that. What's the next one?
Next one's
I actually do that. It works for me. It's good.
Really?
Yeah. Well, Kim always like if I have an outburst I'll do a bit of work on the house at home, and if stuff up something, I feel that it's better to get it out and say the profanities and all that, and then but then I get the side eyes like,
Your neighbour's like, what did you just call me?
Your neighbour
"Oh,
sticks his
just
head over the
murdering."
fence.
It's just a simple game of murder.
I'm actually, it's actually quite interesting because I did read that in your book, and what I like about it ties into the very first thing you said, which was it's very quick, simple, and easy, and something so small,
Primal.
yeah. And I've actually never tried it, but I live on the back of a bit of a rainforest, so I can probably scare the little wallabies away, little kangaroos away, and the snakes hopefully.
It'd be good if straight after you do that, there's all these guys come over. Is there a young girl who's...
It's no, I'm actually going to try, mate. But I like what you said again, tying into the first part about being simple and easy. That's great. I think a lot of men could adapt to that.
Yeah, 100%. The second one's just journaling. So half of the problem that I found with myself is I would be counterintuitive. So I'd have a problem, I'd argue the problem in my head. So if you write down what the problem is, and if you write down what you think are 3 things, if you face this problem, what are 3 good things that will come out of it? And what are 3 bad things that you think might come out of it? And as soon as you do that, what you've done is you've taken that problem out of your head and you put it down on paper. So what you've done is actually cleared your mind, and you're actually looking at a problem, and then you can think about it by looking at it. So you're not using one tool, you're not using your brain as in just your memory and arguing with yourself. You're using some more senses just to try and work out that problem. And if you go back to courage and conviction and be able to be honest with yourself, you can most men can nut out the problems pretty much themselves. And I remember the first time I did that, it was about, opening up to Amber about something. And, what were the pros? Well, we have a better, stronger relationships. What were the negatives? Well, she might walk out the door, and you had to weigh it up and do that. And again, that doesn't need to be an hour process. You can write that down within 10, 15 minutes, and once you actually put it on the paper, you will automatically feel better because, as I said, taking it out of your mind and you're putting it on paper.
Well, that's accountability, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It's like self-accountability for anything, isn't it? It's like a self-accountability. It's
It
like
is.
you're holding
Well,
accountability to yourself. Yeah.
But that's it. That's what I think. That's that reoccurring thing. I wrote this down, and I've written down a lot of notes since we've had all our guests on, and I keep coming back to that word, and I think that's the key because, like you said, it's out, it's open, it's off your chest. You've held yourself accountable. Now you can solve it, move on, create a pathway forward.
As you said too, John, it's one of those things that when it's in our head, we can rationalise and justify anything. So it makes sense all the time until we get it out. And when you put it on paper and you reread it, you think, is that really what the hell I was thinking? Like, we get a different perspective. I work a lot of young men, and we actually call it playbooks instead of journaling because the stigma even for young men about writing a journal or having a journal, they go, nah, I'm good. So I relabeled it as a playbook. Because straight away thinking about NFL, like it's something we put in, we work through, there's an action piece and we can continue to work from it. And they're pumped about their playbooks, but none of them brought their journal, #journal, to our program. They're like, nah, I left it at home. And when we labeled it as a playbook, they're like, oh, I've got my playbook, sir. Just interesting that stigma around it. But just to see what you think from a different perspective, it's incredible how quick you can get that self-awareness to pick up and go, holy crap, like I can't believe I've thought that for so long. That doesn't even make sense for my journey moving forward. So again, another stigma piece, but it's such an important piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, totally agree. And even when you look back at a day later, I remember writing all these things, looking back a day later and crossing a couple of them out and going, oh, that's not really going to happen. You know, and you can self-reflect, as you said, Steve. And the final one is laughter. And one thing I love about listening to you guys is the banter and the laughter, because, you know, people who are going through a hard time, you can't constantly deal with that. And I recommend in the book, you know, if you know someone funny, if you've got a friend that's funny, you know, you should be holding on to them as tight as you can. Amber's so lucky she's got me. But you've got to have that friend, you know, and we all know someone who's funny. I've got a really good mate who I think is funny. Every time I talk to him, I walk away feeling better. If you don't find one, and if you still can't find one, you know, just find a funny movie. There's so many good movies. I'm taking my son through all the really good ones from the noughties. You know,
back when
that
comedy
sort of
was good,
stuck up
hey?
my time. So,
So you've got
40
Dumb and
Year Old
Dumber.
Virgin.
What else we got? Dumb.
The Notebook.
Billy Madison.
The Notebook. That's a comedy, right?
That's a top movie, you know. Well, I like that one. That's actually a good point about the whole laughter thing, because when you look at mental health in men, you think sobby, down and out, mopey. Laughing is an instant pick-me-up.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's just a
And when you
shame.
think about it too, right? They say laughter is the best medicine. That quote has been around when I was a kid, you know, 49 years ago. So, you know, it's still been around for a long time. I mean, Robin Williams, all the
Patch
great
Adams,
movies.
yeah. I was just thinking that.
Yeah, 100%.
So just don't mix those tools together, because if you're writing something, yelling and then laughing about it, you're probably going to get reported by someone or locked up.
Exactly right. Your wife will be wondering what you're really watching. And the last thing I want to say is you guys were talking about mental health awareness and how far that has just gone past now. And one of the things I've been thinking about this a lot is it reminds me of the 4-minute mile. You know, we've been doing this mental health and awareness, like we couldn't go past 4 minutes for a mile. But now there's a lot of stuff coming on about lived experience, and like everyone you've had on tonight has had lived experience. And I know every time I do something like this, and I spoke about it when I was on the podcast, and a person will reach out and talk to me about their experience. And I had mates, like a guy who sat next to me for 4 years, and I knew everything about him, about his family. But it wasn't until I did a newspaper article about what happened to me that he opened up to me about what happened to him. And, you know, once we all start doing that, once all men start really talking about how they are feeling and how they are dealing with their mental health, that's the only way that those statistics that, break all our hearts, right, are going to drop. And I love what was said before, because one of the things I talk about is that generational change for my son and for his sons. I don't want to have to worry about him and his sons going through the same thing we're going through as a society now.
Well, you've just started your podcast, buddy. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, and thanks again for helping me out with that, Wayne and Samuel. I really appreciate it. Yeah, so it's about battle armor, and it's talking about tools, but I'm talking about 2 men who have gone through mental health struggles, faced suicide, how they got out of that, what they've done. And the first podcast I had is with Craig, who's the CEO of Samson, who went through childhood sexual abuse, came out of that and started Samson Survivors and Mates Support Network, which is the only non-for-profit organisation that help men deal with their childhood sexual assault. So he was the very first guest. So really excited to have him on. And I have to tell you, it's a lot different being on that side of the camera to this side.
It's fun, isn't it?
Yeah, it's fun. I got a lot out of it, but it was a bit stressful.
No, not stressful at all. Well, mate, thanks for tuning in tonight, buddy. And thanks for, I said this to you before, mate, and I truly mean it. Thanks for being a big supporter of what we do, mate, because it means a lot. It truly does.
And same back to you guys. And yeah, as I said, I love you guys, and keep doing the good work.
Appreciate it, mate. I'll tell you what, though, before we let you go, I am going to close off the podcast doing Man vs. Machine. You want to stick around and be a part of Man vs. Machine with us?
I'm man versus machine. Yeah.
All right. Well, lads, you ready?
No.
No.
All right, that's it.
Ready? Right, okay, so this is a part of the show where I come up with a question. I ask Chad, aka ChatGPT. I asked Chad the same question that I'm going to ask you, lads. I'm going to compare the answers. Not that Chad is the answer, but it's always good to get a perspective from this wild machine called AI compared to us normal everyday blokes with lived experience. So you ready for the question? I'm going to compare the two. I'll ask you guys first. You ready? Describe the ideal mentally healthy man. Describe the ideal mental healthy man. What does he look like? Describe him to me.
Oh, it's you,
6'3", tanned.
Yeah.
18% body fat.
Massive forehead.
That's not me then.
Oh, it's got to be like my mind's eye just takes me to a caveman all of a sudden because I don't know. I think it's societal pressure and all the modern day things that crumbles people and at alarming rates. But I think it's like physical, doing a duty, getting a task done, completing a goal, providing shelter, and reproducing, and just providing a I don't know, a safe haven.
Like
a purpose.
Steve-O, describe the ideal mentally healthy man.
I would say someone who is both confident and competent in who he is and what he's achieving, and answers to no one but himself and the purposes he's aligning to.
Heavy.
That was better than mine.
Mikey.
No, I mean, I'm going with caveman. I love that. That's great.
I went too far back. I was just thinking of Wayne.
Me and make podcast.
Me talk funny. I got in here.
Actually, every time I see Wayne's got a tomahawk steak in his hand, I think,
And the Telepizza.
That's why I'm mentally
What the
healthy.
fuck's in that?
That's exactly the reason. You never met a tomahawk who's mentally healthy, I'll tell you that. Mikey, describe the ideal mentally healthy man.
I'm going to say a guy that lives in the real world, not stuck in technology. He's present, hardworking, physically, providing for his family, and just here with it, not had your head cluttered with nonsense.
Like it. John, describe to us the ideal mentally healthy man.
This is difficult because I've struggled with my mental health most of my life. But when I think about how I want my mental health to be, I want to be able to look in the mirror and know that the person I'm looking at is doing everything that he can to be not only a good person, but a good father, a good partner. And someone mentioned about society, but not really worrying about society's expectation of him, worrying about his own expectations.
I like it. Well, lads, I asked Chad, aka ChatGPT, I asked him the same question. Describe the ideal mentally healthy man. And ChatGPT said this.
Caitlyn Jenner.
Definitely didn't say Kelly. Although the awards ceremony when she first came out, anyway, let's get off track. Okay, describe the ideal healthy man, mentally healthy man. ChatGPT said this: the poster boy for mental health is a man who knows himself deeply and lives with calm, grounded clarity. He communicates honestly, stays connected to real mates, and maintains boundaries that protects his peace. He handles stress with steadiness, not avoidance, and he owns his emotions without being ruled by them. He reflects often, keeps no secrets, forgives quickly, and asks for help without shame. He has a clear purpose, a steady routine, and a mind that isn't overstimulated or chaotic. He embraces discomfort, grows from setbacks, and anchors his life to something bigger than himself. He is balanced, consistent, and genuinely whole.
Bit of what everyone said.
Well, we all could have said that.
I reckon that's
used
cherry
them quickly.
picked from a Hollywood character. Like we can't all be that at one time.
That's given me mental health problems listening.
But does that not, that basically describes the ideal man.
Yeah, that covers everything.
Is that what you're looking for? Or?
Yeah.
But does it?
I don't know.
Does it though? That's an AI interpretation.
Well,
cherry picked from.
Pick some of the big things in there that I find are massive, right? Like, look at this, ready? Is keeps no secrets, forgives quickly, reflects often, asks for help without shame. Those are key things I think would mentally build any man. Any man.
Oh, 100%. They would. But
Now you want to listen to this, ready? So I asked Chad again, What's the opposite? So if that's the ideal mentally healthy man, what's a man that's mentally unstable? And this is what Chat came up with. The opposite man is lost, reactive, and ruled by whatever emotion hits him next. He avoids reflection because he's scared of what he'll find. He carries secrets, guilt, and shame that eat him from the inside. He isolates himself, hides behind humor or anger, and keeps relationships shallow so no one sees the truth. He chases dopamine instead of purpose and numbs himself with distractions, scrolling, porn, alcohol, or chaos. He has no boundaries, says yes to everything, and feels resentful and exhausted. Stress crushes him because he's never learned to face hard things. He lives unanchored, unfocused, overstimulated, and mentally drowning. Do you know the sad truth about that? How many of those points there, if you're honest with yourself, can you relate to?
Oh, I got a couple. I got a couple for sure.
Truly, hey.
Yep.
Say yes to
It's
everything.
revealing.
Huh? Yeah, like I reckon from say yes to everything.
I've never got 100% on a test before.
Absolutely, and I was going to say that, and I've spoken to you guys on the podcast. That's my life. That was my life.
Yeah.
Everything that you just read out there was my life.
But can you get to Chad's airy fairy man without hitting these notes down here? Do you know what I mean? Like you can't be that without knowing this, can you?
Yeah.
I think that's part of life, though. You have to know the bottom. You have to know the opposite man to get to the better man. Yeah,
that's actually a good point. If anything, that bottom section there is actually the starting point of where we most start with.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But a lot of men stay there too. That's the sad part.
Yeah, and unfortunately, men wait till well, in my case, and I know a lot of other men, wait till they hit rock bottom. And unfortunately, sometimes rock bottom's got an attic, right, or a cellar. Until they start that journey back up, which is, is sad as well.
As I've never heard it before. Say that again. Wait. Sometimes rock bottom has a cellar. That's incredible.
That's all you self-medicate.
I remember thinking that I hit rock bottom once, and then 2 weeks later, I just went, "Wow, this is worse than I was 2 weeks ago."
Yeah. But this is what I said earlier, and that's what I believe it 100%. That 24 hours later, or a week later, or whatever, you can find you're back in the top shelf again. Yeah, 100%.
Possibly, yeah.
I think looking at this, my reaction straight away is the ideal guy is everything about that is deliberate. We're not going to accidentally become that. Yet the opposite man, if we don't make deliberate, that's what becomes default.
Spot on.
We will, if we don't choose to intentionally move towards the deliberate one, we will naturally diminish into default, and we don't tend to choose to be here. Like no one at 8 says, what do you dream of as, when you grow up? Oh man, I want to be lost, reactive, ruled by every emotion. But we don't dream of this, yet if we don't intentionally look at our life, and everyone, and John included, alluded to this idea of self-reflection with a bit of purpose, we wonder where we're going to end up. This is it, whether we like it or not. If we don't choose the path to move forward, we will find ourselves here and go, how the hell did I get here? But just not being deliberate.
Yeah, that's spot on, mate. And if you go back to the question, describe the ideal mentally healthy man, and you compare it to the bottom. So this is obviously the opposite to the ideal healthy man. When you can see that in black and white, and then you compare that to the statistics that we live in with natural society and where we are, and we look at the mental health issues, you go, what?
Compare the pair.
Compare the pair. But we wonder why there's mental health issues, and you look at that whole bottom section.
Yeah.
If that bottom section is what AI is punching out now to go, this is the ideal mentally unstable guy, that's where most of men live.
Yeah. Hoping that one day they'll accidentally become the ideal man.
Fall into the top.
Yeah.
Incredible. Well, let's wrap it up. John, mate, thank you for joining us, buddy.
My pleasure.
I have to get you up here again, mate, and jump on the potty with us again, mate. And love what you do. Here to support you in whatever you need, mate. with your podcast and with the stuff that you're doing, mate. We are big supporters of yourself too. So happy to be involved in pushing and supporting and encouraging whatever you're doing, bud.
Great to see you, mate.
Thank you so much. Yeah, great to see you guys.
I'll see you in a week and a bit, buddy. Thanks very much.
All right, looking forward to it. See ya.
Wayne, before we wrap up, I've just seen that my mum's watching. She's watching it all the way from the Muslim Caliphate. London.
Oh,
How long were you sitting on that one, Mike?
Come on.
That was an hour and a half in the making.
Bye, Mum.
oh yeah.
Oh, so good. So bad, but so good.
And you can't cut it. There's nothing you can do.
I can't any of this out you said. I'm stuck with Mikey 100%.
He said, I'm now banned from England.
You are. You're going to get a letter from Albo too. Ladies, you want to say anything before we wrap it up?
Oh, look, I was a pleasure to be back on the set. I just realised towards the end here how much I miss like having these chats, because like I've just been taking notes like a madman and just realised how bad I've become. I'm so in that bottom half, it's not funny.
You actually scribbled out the whole top half. What's going on?
No, because it doesn't exist, man. It's fairyland. It's
I'll
fairyland.
never find the perfect man.
I see the last bit on that note, and the bottom just says Steve and question mark.
Yeah, why did you sign the bottom?
Hey?
Why did you sign the bottom?
I signed all the pages.
You need a witness?
Yeah, man, I signed. Yeah, man. Hey, are you taking the piss, mate? I'm just trying to tell you about your podcast being good.
See what happens when you get vulnerable.
Yes, I was very vulnerable.
Ask my wife in my notebook, Kimmy, which camera?
Yeah, you got that one.
What page isn't signed? I've got an addiction. I just do my signature. I'm filling in the blanks.
It's revealing and confronting, isn't it?
I don't know. It'll be worth something one day, surely.
Well, it's interesting that everywhere we got on, we go, if you get any average man and said, what would you think about these people? They're successful, right? We often think that successful people are void of the issues that we go. Like, obviously, they've got there because they didn't have this or that, or my family, my history, whatever. When you really look at it and you go, everyone's going to go through some struggles. It's how we navigate through them that determines whether you're going to be successful or not, or make something or have impact. I think it's a good reminder to go, everyone we've seen tonight has real hard issues to solve, but has shown up and solved them.
Yeah.
It is doable.
Yeah,
we feel alone, but we're not alone. And just start the process. Start with day one. Mm-hmm. So it just encourages me to go, oh man, like we're all in this.
Yeah. Spot on, buddy. Guys, anything else before we wrap it up?
It's been said, mate.
Being said, Elliot, thanks for joining us, buddy. Really
Thanks,
good
mate,
to
Awesome.
have you back after all these years, bud.
Been a
Really
while.
good. Mikey, Steve-O, thanks once again.
Pleasure.
All really good. Guys, thanks for joining us here for the Men's Collective podcast. It is International Men's Health Day. Thanks for being a part of our live episode. Be good to do a few more and get you guys involved. Be really, really good. But guys, listen, thanks to One Life Property, who are our sponsors here on the show. They do great things. Jump on the website, guys. Grab a hold of some merch, some shirts, some hats, whatever you need. And hit up where our social media, you can see where all of our meetups are. Love to have you come along. So, guys, thanks again for joining us. Samuel, thanks for doing all the sound tech tonight. Mate, you did an awesome job. Guys, thanks once again. And, guys, like we say every single week, go out there and become better men because the world needs better men. Righto, boys. Thanks very much.
Take care,
See you
lads.
guys.